So they wanted to hit his house, kidnap his wife, rob his wife. And he came to me with this plan. My plan was, hey, dude, let's do all fucking 8 years. We're 31 years old. We'll get out by the time we're 40. I'm Ken from the 7-5 documentary, and I'm chatting with Stacks.
Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Stacks. I'm your host, Bill Stacks, and today I got Ken Eurell.
So come on. It's just like begging to be caught. But either the bosses were told, don't do nothing, or they just didn't give a fuck. What I don't know will not affect me. They didn't want to know what he was doing.
Do you think maybe some of the bosses were corrupt too?
There might have been when we first came on, but by 1987, none of those guys, they weren't involved. Most of the guys, bosses that came into the 7-5, they had just made boss. They would come into the 7-5 for 6 months, get some action and then get cycled out. They wouldn't let them stay there.
So now you're going to court. Are you terrified to go to prison being a former cop?
To be real, I was sort of outside my body. It didn't really hit me yet. It's like, we're being told you guys are facing 25 years to life based on the amount of drugs we were using, distributing, selling, and all that shit. And it's still not hitting me yet. My wife is in a fucking panic. She's crying every fucking day. And I get a very good lawyer. And
do you get bond?
We eventually got bond. We had a $350,000 cash bond. So I had to come up with 2 houses. I had some money in the bank I had to give the bondsman, all that shit. It took like a month to get out. So we were inside for about a month.
I'm surprised they didn't take the money from your bank.
They did freeze. They froze everything on me. And I had called my lawyer and then they unfroze it. They tried to take my house. They confiscated my I had 3 cars. They confiscated 3 cars. And they froze my account, and my lawyer was able to unfreeze that. So, it was 25 years to fucking life. And then he starts, he's a good lawyer. He's got good reputation with the ADA out in Suffolk County in the police department. And he's actually a judge. I don't know if he's probably old and retired by now, but he ended up becoming a judge himself. He starts, doing plea negotiations. So he's like, look, you're probably going to do 8 to 10 years, if you plead guilty to drug distribution. As he's talking to me about that shit, the Southern District, the federal government, is now investigating us because these other guys came forward. So now they have some real information. It's not just rumor no more. So the Southern District called me and my lawyer in. And now there's a whole new investigation going on. And what ends up going on, I go back, I tell my partner, hey, somebody's fucking talking. They asked me questions that they should not know. He was like in a fucking frenzy. He had 2 Colombian drug deals he had like 3 houses at the time, along with his red Corvette. So he had 2 Colombian drug dealers that were living and renting one of his homes. So they got together. I don't know when they got together, but they got together and they had a plan with this other Colombian drug dealer to go rob a 4th drug dealer's house who had absconded with 10 kilos of coke. So they wanted to hit his house, kidnap his wife, rob his wife, and he came to me with this plan. My plan was, hey, dude, let's do all fucking 8 years. We're 31 years old. We'll get out by the time we're 40. That's not bad. We'll go in holding hand in hand. But he was, and again, he's doing fucking coke, so he's not thinking straight. I got to give him that. But his plan was, no, fuck that. We're going to run off to Nicaragua after we fucking go in on this plan to rob this stash house. I'm like, we're not doing that. We're not doing it. And it went on for like a good month while the federal government is now looking at us. And he didn't want to have nothing to do with them. And then the federal government called me in a second time, and I didn't tell him about the second time. Now, at this point, I'm like, now it's every man for your fucking self. These guys already gave us up. Obviously, they're talking to the government. you want to do some fucking Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid plan. I ain't doing that. I'm not going to Bolivia. Sorry. And I go into the federal government the second time, and I'm not telling him. This time I don't tell him. And, at that point, I'm going to sit down. They give me, I'm sure you know, it's called Queen for a Day. They give me a Queen for a Day. You tell them every crime you're ever involved in, and they can't use, not that you won't be prosecuted for it, but they can't use it against you if it goes to trial.
John Gotti Jr. got that, I believe, right?
What's that?
John Gotti Jr. got a Queen.
Yes, same thing. So you tell them every crime you did, but if they catch you in a lie, if they corroborate something from someone else that you do, that you lied about or did not disclose, your deal is up. And the deal isn't that you get a fucking immunity. A lot of people think Queen for a Day is immunity. That's just the federal prosecutor will go to the judge when it's sentencing time and tell the judge the extent of the cooperation and give you a downward departure in the sentencing guidelines. So
state, though, you got a state case you're dealing with.
Right.
It's not a federal case.
They talk to Suffolk County and roll the drug dealing case into a RICO case. So now I'm on a RICO charge. So the state case disappears. Everything's into one big RICO charge. And I disclose everything. I tell them everything. And at the end of that meeting, on the end of Queen for a Day, almost as a fucking afterthought, I almost didn't tell them. I was like, oh, yeah, by the way, Dad wants to go rob this fucking drug dealer's house and skip the country and go to Nicaragua. We're on fucking bail. I don't want to get messed. I just didn't want to get caught up in that, So I wanted to disclose it just in case it came out that I knew about the plan. That was my thing. And now they're like, their fucking mouths drop open. They're like, this guy's a fucking, out and out gangster. That's what they're fucking thinking. So at the end, they call the DEA into the meeting and they go, look, we want you to wear a wire. We want you to go out, find everything, all the intricacies about this drug plan. And now I'm like, I guess I could say no, but I want to give the full extent of my cooperation because he's still calling me every day. So even though I told him I'm not doing it, at this point, I was like, all right, the next time he calls me, I'll tell him, okay, I'm in. And
how much time did they offer you at this point before you start?
What do you mean? Like sentencing?
Yeah, how much time?
There's no discussion about that. Just that they will go to the sentencing judge at sentencing time and tell them the extent of my cooperation. So thankfully, they could still hit you with crazy. Oh yeah, they could hit me with anything. They could have did anything. But thankfully, when my sentencing was like fucking 4 years later, I think it was 1995, 1996. When I went there, to give him credit, the prosecuting attorney from the Southern District, he went to bat for me, man. He laid everything on the line. This defendant gave the most cooperation of any defendant I had cooperating witness, of any cooperating witness I ever worked with. He saved a woman's life, blah, 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 blah. He went on and on. He did better than my lawyer. When my lawyer had the opportunity to talk to the judge, I had the opportunity. My lawyer, he was a criminal defense attorney out in Suffolk County. He never had a federal case. So he was really lost once we went to the federal system. So I really depended on the DEA agent was really helpful to me.
So that was going to kill that woman?
The plan was, it's on tape, man. I know he denies it to this day. The plan was to go into the fucking stash house. The woman's in the stash house. I got 3 fucking Colombians working with us. They're either going to fucking kill all of us, which means me and him, and that's on tape too. It's like, dude, they're not going to leave witnesses. They're going to kill us. They're definitely killing the fucking woman. And he's on tape saying, look, dude, we go into the house. We got her. We take her to a hotel somewhere. That's it. There's no witnesses. So, he'll deny it to this day, but it's on tape.
So when you go for this meeting with him, you got the wire on, right? Do you meet up with the cops?
I probably wore the wire like 3 or 4 occasions. Because the first time I wore the wire, now I have to meet these 3 drug dealers that I never met. I don't know them. I've never met them. They're big time Colombian drug dealers that are living in his fucking house, renting his house. So now I have to meet them for the first time. So now he goes, okay, they're coming over this night. And I go to he's got this fucking mansion out in fucking Port Jeff on a cul-de-sac. I'm sure a lot of people have seen it. It's on my Instagram somewhere. The front picture of his house on the cul-de-sac on the New York Post front page, the house that Coke built. The New York Post, they fucking every headline they could get. One of the headlines were him on the front page, dirtiest cop ever. So, I mean, but so I go out to his house in Port Jeff, and I got to meet these 3 fucking drug dealers, and we discussed the whole fucking thing. Then another time that we go and we go to the precinct, and we're basically familiarizing ourselves where the stash house is. So we go to the precinct where this is in Queens. We drive up around the neighborhood, drive up and down the block, point out because I don't know where the house is, and I'm trying to gather information. I'm wearing a wire. I'm not even in the car with that. I'm in the car with one of these fucking Colombian drug dealers, and he's in the car with the other drug dealer. So as we're following them. As we're going by the house, he points out the house to me, and I read out on tape the address of the fucking house. So it's on the fucking tape. And it's not a wire, like a live wire where they're listening. Yeah. It's just me with a fucking tape recorder.
Recorded, yeah.
Yeah, and this is fucking 1992. Tape recorder, it's not like today. It's a little micro recorder on your phone.
It's like this big, recorder, right? It's like this
exactly bigger than a fucking cell phone. It was like an old fucking Game Boy, fucking ridiculous size. Yeah. So and I had tape to my fucking leg, and I ran a wire up my leg with a little microphone.
Were you nervous they were going to catch you at any point?
Not really. I mean, I don't know. It was like I was playing a part in a movie. It was weird. I was like outside my body. So and as we're done on the way back, this is so fucking stupid, the shit they did. We stopped in the 7-5 precinct at a bodega on the way back, and we're drinking a couple of Heinekens at this location that we used to frequent. And we're outside, and now they're talking amongst themselves in Spanish. And they, at the end of their Spanish conversation, like, I don't even know what the fuck they said. They might have said, we're going to kill these 2 assholes too, meaning me and Dowd. But at the end of their conversation, they let us know the hits in the morning. We're doing this in the morning. So I don't get back. This is fucking, now 1:00 in the morning. I don't get back to my house on Long Island till 2:33 in the morning. Now I got to fucking call the DEA to let them know this fucking shit's going down in the morning. 3:00 in the morning, I'm calling the DEA. I call my lawyer, let him know what's going on. And of course, nobody's answering phones. They're all answering services. They're all sleeping fucking soundly. So they get back to me, and the DEA agent goes, okay, this is what I want you to do. I need you. We're all going into Manhattan right now. I need you to meet, and it might be a little embarrassing for you. I need you to meet this detective in Massapequa. And I'm like, who the fuck is it? And it's a guy I used to work with, that I was good friends with, who was a detective in the 7-5 precinct and went to work as an investigator for the Southern District. So he's on the case, and we don't even know it. So now I got to go meet this guy I used to work with when I was a fucking good cop. And he's there, and I'm like, man, this is embarrassing, Joe. And I'm giving him the fucking tapes and all. And he's like, don't worry about it. You're doing the right thing. Well, all the shit they try to calm you down.
Yeah.
I hand over the tapes to him. I let him know, make sure you have a Spanish interpreter, because some of it is in Spanish. And they go back and they decipher the tapes. They go to the house in the morning and they pull the woman out of the house.
Oh, so they get her out of there just in case they come through and try to do this.
Exactly.
Now, what happens? Does he come to pick you up to go do this, or
Dowd picks me up in the morning? So we go into the precinct, and it's on Avon Street in Queens. And Avon Street is this maybe 2 blocks long, 3 blocks long. It's a very short street. And it's a residential neighborhood. So anybody in that neighborhood knows if there's a car out of the ordinary on the block. So the fucking DEA and fucking Internal Affairs has undercover vans on the fucking block. So of course somebody fucking calls 911. And I told these fucking guys, look, we have scanners. We monitor the police fucking radio. Don't fucking give up anything on the local precinct radio, because we're monitoring you. So 911 call comes in. there's a undercover van, not an undercover van, a suspicious van on Avon Street. And they give the license plate number. So Central Dispatch for the NYPD gives it, broadcasts it over the fucking radio to the precinct concerned, and we hear it on the fucking scanner. You know, suspicious vehicle on Avon Street. And him and I look at each other like, fuck, that's got to be pertaining to us. Avon Street is too short to be any other suspicious van on Avon Street.